You don't just own perfume, you collect it. You think about it at odd hours, mid-conversation, halfway through a work meeting, while standing in line somewhere that smells like nothing. You have bottles you finished and kept anyway because throwing them out feels wrong in a way you can't quite explain. You have bottles you haven't opened yet, saving them for a version of life that feels worthy of them. And you have one, maybe two, that you reach for on the hardest days. Not because they're your favorite, but because they feel like you. Most people would call this an obsession, but most people are missing the point entirely because you were never really collecting fragrance. You were collecting feeling. You were collecting versions of yourself that only exist in scent form. The soft one, the serious one, the one who has everything together, the one who is purely, quietly sensual without needing to explain it to anyone. Every bottle on that shelf is a mood you wanted to be able to return to, a state you wanted to own, a version of your life that smells exactly like it was supposed to. There's a reason scent hits differently than anything else. It bypasses every rational layer of your brain and lands somewhere older, somewhere that doesn't filter or analyze. When you spray something on your wrist and close your eyes for just a second, you're not evaluating a product. You're checking in with yourself. You're asking quietly, does this feel like me today? And sometimes it does, and something settles, and sometimes it doesn't, and you put it back and reach for a different one. Because, you've always known that the right scent on the right day is one of the smallest and most complete forms of self alignment available to you. This is what people who don't understand fragrance will never quite grasp. It's not about smelling good for someone else. It has almost nothing to do with other people at all. It's about the private experience of inhabiting yourself more fully, of walking into a room and feeling it from the inside like you arrived as someone intentional, like you chose yourself this morning. The obsession often starts with one bottle that changed something. Not necessarily the most expensive one, not the most praised one, just one that the first time you wore it made you feel seen by your own reflection. That made the ordinary Tuesday feel like it had an atmosphere. You remember that bottle, you've probably repurchased it more than once, and some part of you has been chasing that specific feeling ever since through dozens of other purchases, through sample sets and discovery sets and blind buys at midnight, through notes and reviews and hours spent in fragrance communities with strangers who understand this language completely. And here is the thing about that chase. It isn't emptiness. It isn't compulsion without meaning. It's a form of self-knowledge that most people never develop at all. You know what you smell like when you're confident. You know what you reach for when you're grieving. You know which fragrance makes you feel like you're walking through a European city in autumn, and which one makes you feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That is not a small thing. That is a developed interior life expressed through one of the most primal senses we have. There's also something worth naming about control. Life has a way of being loud and unmeasurable, full of situations you didn't choose and outcomes you couldn't predict. But your scent is yours, completely, quietly, privately yours. No one can take it from you in a meeting. No one can diminish it. You put it on in the morning and it stays with you all day, invisible to everyone else, present only to you in those small moments when you catch a trace of it on your sleeve, your collar, the inside of your wrist. It follows you like a mood you chose deliberately. In a world where so much is out of your hands, that constancy is not nothing. Some women rotate their perfume with the seasons, with their outfits, with the kind of day they're about to have, or the kind of person they need to be. This isn't indecisiveness, it's fluency. It's knowing that identity is not fixed, that you are not one single thing, and that having the right scent for each version of yourself is a way of honoring that complexity instead of flattening it. The woman who wears something dark and resinous on a difficult week and something light and clean on the morning she finally feels like herself again, she isn't confused. She's paying attention. And yes, sometimes the buying is its own thing. Sometimes you add something to the cart not because you need it, but because the idea of it, the promise of it, gives you something to look forward to in a week that has very little else. That's not a flaw. That's a human reaching for beauty in a form that fits in a box that can be delivered, that is immediately and entirely yours the moment you open it. The ritual of unwrapping a new bottle, of reading the notes on the card, of applying it for the first time and waiting to see who you become, that ritual is real. The anticipation is real, and the satisfaction when a new fragrance turns out to be exactly what you needed without knowing you needed it is one of the quietest and most genuine joys there is. What lives underneath all of it, the collecting, the rotating, the researching, the saving, and the spending, is something that doesn't get said often enough. You are trying to feel like yourself, not the self you perform for other people, not the self that shows up exhausted and reactive and just getting through the day, the self that exists somewhere underneath all of that. Softer, more deliberate, more present. The self that deserves a Tuesday that smells like something. The self who moves through her own life as if it is worth paying attention to. That's what the perfume is for. It always has been. It's not an obsession, it's a practice. And you've been building it one bottle at a time for longer than you probably realize.